Imagine this. You are in a cash register. There are people behind you. The cashier is looking at you. The machine beeps. 2 beeps. Card declined. It's not because you're out of money. It's not because you did something wrong. Maybe it was a fraud block. Maybe the bank flagged a transaction for no reason. Maybe there simply wasn't enough money in your checking account because you forgot to transfer it from your savings. It doesn't matter. What matters is the sound. That beep and the expression on the cashier's face. That moment when he tries to be polite. But you both can feel exactly what's going on. You hand over another card. It goes through. You grab your bag and leave faster than you needed to. But that feeling stays with you. This particular type of shame, the kind that isn't loud, isn't dramatic, simply stays in your chest for the rest of the day. Here's what nobody tells you about that moment. The bank that just embarrassed you. They have a department, an entire team. Dedicated relationship managers, priority phone lines, private rooms, fee waivers, better interest rates, personal consultants who actually answer the phone. This department exists. You simply don't meet the requirements yet. The limit in most large banks is around $1 million in assets. Below that line, you're a retail customer. Your processing is done in bulk. You're just a number in a system designed to extract small fees from millions of people who don't read the fine print. Above that line, you are a customer. And the difference between these two words is not just one of vocabulary. It's a completely different relationship with money, with risk, with access, and with the institution that supposedly holds your financial future. Today, we're going to analyze exactly what changes when you cross that boundary. I don't want to leave you bitter. I don't want to make you feel left behind. But understanding how this system really works, truly, without the hype, is the first step to navigating it on your own terms. If you're new here and enjoy content that reveals the behind-the-scenes workings of money, not just how people say it works, subscribe now. New video every week. Let's go. Let's start with something most people have never stopped to think about. When you open a basic checking account at a large bank, exactly what do you represent to that institution? The answer is uncomfortable. You are simultaneously the customer and the product. Your deposits fund the company's lending operations. Your transaction data is analyzed, aggregated, and sold to partners in various ways, depending on their privacy policies. Your behavior is studied to determine what fees you are likely to pay without closing your account. And the rates are not random. Overdraft fees, monthly maintenance fees, off-network, ATM fees, electronic transfer fees, international transaction fees, minimum balance fees, printed statement fees, inactivity fees. Each of these products was designed deliberately by teams of behavioral economists and product designers to capture revenue from people who are already experiencing financial stress. Think about that for a second. The overdraft fee, usually between $30 and $35, is most commonly triggered by people who have a negative balance of less than $20. This means the bank is charging you $35 for a negative balance of $20. This is not a service. This is not protection. This is a punishment for poverty. And here's the part that should really make you angry. The same bank that charged you that $35 fee almost certainly has a client upstairs. Same building, different floor, whose consultant just called to let him know about an exclusive fixed income opportunity before it's open to the public. Same bank, a different kind of walk, a different planet. This is not a conspiracy. It's just business. And when you understand this clearly, not emotionally, but factually, you can begin to make decisions about your money with your eyes wide open. Because the system is not faulty. It is functioning exactly as designed. The question is whether this is working for you or against you. Let's talk about how the system actually presents itself at the top of the hierarchy. When a client exceeds the limit, typically $1 million in investable assets, although some institutions set it at $750,000, others at $2 million. Depending on the brand, they are discreetly transferred to a different category: private banking, wealth management, premium services for clients. The terminology varies depending on the institution, but the structure is consistent. You'll have a dedicated relationship manager, a real person with a real direct line, who will know your name before you've even finished the first sentence. You come across fee structures that bear no resemblance to the publicly available price list. You will have access to investment products that are not available to retail clients, private equity funds, hedge fund allocations, structured notes, pre-IPO opportunities. You get preferential loan terms, lower mortgage rates, lines of credit that would take an average customer months to obtain. In some institutions, you have access to a physical space, a lounge, a private office for meetings, coffee that costs more than your old monthly bank fee, and you gain something that's harder to quantify, but which is arguably the most valuable item on the list. You receive a responsiveness. When something goes wrong, a fraudulent charge, an international transfer that needs to be made today, a tax document that needs to be reissued, the problem is solved quickly by someone who has both the access and the motivation to solve it, because losing their account now has real consequences for them. When you had $2,000 in a checking account, losing you as a customer cost them perhaps $40 a year in net fee revenue. When you have $1 million in assets, losing you costs them between $5,000 and $15,000 annually in management fees, alone, even accounting for loan relationships, credit card spending, and referrals. The incentive structure is different, and incentives drive behavior. Always leave a comment right now. Have you ever come across a rate that seemed completely absurd? Tell me about it below. And if you identify with this, leave a like. It really helps reach more people. Let's make this concrete. Same person, 10 years difference. Different balances. Version 1, 29 years old. $73,000 a year. A decent job. Some savings. A few thousand in a brokerage account they opened during the pandemic and practically forgot about. They call the bank to dispute a charge. Waiting time, 22 minutes. They managed to speak to a representative at a call center. The representative is polite, but clearly reading from a script. He asks the same security questions twice. He puts you on hold again to review the account. He comes back and says the dispute will take 7 to 10 business days and that they can't guarantee a provisional credit. You ask to speak to a supervisor. The supervisor says the same thing in a slightly more authoritative tone. You switch off. You get frustrated. You move on because you have other things to deal with. That same week, they check their credit card statement and notice a $3 international transaction fee related to a purchase made on an international website. $3. They let it go. It wasn't worth fighting. Version 2. The same person, 39 years old. Career advancement. Some smart decisions. A real estate portfolio that appreciated in value. A brokerage account that actually grew. Investable assets, $1,200,000. They notice an incorrect charge on their investment account. An administration fee was applied to a transaction that should have been exempt. They send a message through the private banking portal at 11:30 p.m. At 8:15 the following morning, the relationship manager called. Not a representative. Not a call center. It was the person responsible for the relationship, who had already analyzed the account, had already confirmed the error, and was calling to let me know that everything had been corrected and that a small additional credit had been applied as a courtesy. The call lasts 4 minutes. Same bank. One of those people is a customer. The other one is a customer. The infrastructure needed to serve people well exists. It always has. It's just rationed, and this is where things get philosophically interesting, because it's easy to look at this contrast and simply feel anger. And anger is valid. But anger without understanding leads nowhere. What you're seeing isn't malice, it's resource allocation. A private banker who manages a portfolio of 30 clients with an average of $2 million each handles $60 million in assets. His entire job is compensation, his performance evaluation, his career depends on the satisfaction of those 30 people. A call center agent who manages a queue of 400 calls per shift, with an average bill value of $8,000, has a completely different job. Their performance metric is called resolution time and customer satisfaction ratings in a survey that perhaps only 12% of people actually respond to. The math is different. The relationship is different. Understanding this is not defeatism, it's enlightenment. Because once you understand the mechanism, you can start asking better questions. It's not a question of why the bank doesn't treat me well, but rather, how do I get into a category where the incentives work in my favor? Now, let's talk about the specific advantages that come with private banking. Not the ones listed in the brochure, the ones that really make a difference. Number 1. Evaluate access. When a mass market customer applies for a mortgage, they consult the public rate table. Perhaps they do a lot of research. Perhaps they use a broker. They get a competitive rate, a good, functional rate. The rate that millions of people get. When a private banking client needs a mortgage, the conversation begins differently. The relationship manager analyzes the complete picture, the investment assets, the income, the overall value of the relationship. And then he has conversations with the credit team, something that retail credit managers don't have access to. The difference between the rates can vary from a quarter of a percentage point to a whole percentage point, depending on the institution and the relationship. In a mortgage of $700,000 for 30 years, 1 percentage point is not a rounding error. 1 point is equivalent to more than $140,000 in interest. This is a real number that changes real lives. Number 2, access to and structure of credit. Private banking clients typically have access to a product called an asset-backed line of credit, sometimes referred to as a bond-backed line of credit. The concept is simple and extraordinarily powerful. Instead of selling your investments to get cash, you offer them as collateral and take out a loan using them as security. The interest rate is usually low, often significantly lower than conventional loan rates. The limit is flexible, and crucially, you don't generate a taxable event. For someone with a portfolio that is appreciated significantly, this is the difference between paying capital gains tax in a large liquidation event and accessing capital at a near zero effective cost. This is how the wealthy move money without eroding their support base. This product is also available in retail banks. Sometimes, but it's not on the homepage. It's not in the informational brochure for new customers. It's something you need to know in order to ask, and most people don't know that. Number 3, insurance architecture. Within the private banking sector, consultants often work in conjunction with experts in wealth planning, trust structures, and insurance products that function as financial instruments, not just as protection. Permanent life insurance structures used as vehicles for transferring assets with tax advantages. Umbrella policies calibrated not for generic risk profiles, but for the actual exposure of assets. Fiduciary structures that protect intergenerational assets from litigation, creditors, and inefficiencies in inheritance tax. None of this is illegal. None of this is exactly hidden. You just need the knowledge to know it exists and the relationship to access it. Number 4, moment of information. This is the most subtle and possibly the most significant. Private banking clients receive information before it becomes public. This isn't insider trading in the legal sense, nothing that violates securities laws. It's research, analysis, macroeconomic positioning. A call from your consultant saying, "We're seeing an outflow from this sector. You might want to review your exposure before it becomes news." In financial markets, timing is often more valuable than the information itself. Retail investors react based on news. Wealth management clients act based on analysis, sometimes weeks before the news is released. Take a short break. If this made you rethink how banks work, take one now. It costs nothing and really helps. And if you have a story about a time when the system made you feel inferior, share it in the comments. Now we need to have an open conversation about something that a lot of financial content ignores: the private banking experience, the relationship manager. The attention, The preferential rates, the exclusive access, conveys a sense of partnership. And this feeling is not accidental, it's planned. The banking relationship with high net worth clients is a highly structured experience designed to build loyalty, deepen the financial relationship, and maximize the total revenue extracted from a wealthy client over their lifetime. This is not cynicism. This is what the internal strategy documents say. This is what the business model demands. The relationship manager who calls you by name, who remembers your daughter's name, who sends you a bottle of wine during the holidays, that person has a sales target. They have a cross-selling quota. They have a performance review that measures how many additional products they added to your account this quarter. They might really like you. Many do. Human connection is real, but the institutional relationship is transactional, and confusing the two things is costly. There is a specific dynamic that constantly repeats itself in private banking relationships, and it is worth naming it clearly. As a new client at this level, you possess many assets, but generally little advice. This means you have money, but may lack in-depth, independent knowledge of all the products offered to you. And the products offered at this level, structured notes, alternative investments, insured instruments, are complex. Intentionally so. In many cases, fee structures are embedded in ways that are technically disclosed, but virtually invisible unless you know exactly what to look for. A structured note can be marketed as capital protection with profit sharing. In reality, it is often a product where the bank has effectively sold you an options strategy, profited from the variation on both sides, and left you with a return profile lower than that of a simple index fund over the same period with your capital locked up for 3 to 5 years. The bank made a profit. The consultant achieved their product positioning goal. The client felt sophisticated for buying something complex. That's feeny. That's normal. That's how the business works. The point is not that private banking is a trap. The point is that no financial institution, regardless of the cordiality of the relationship, regardless of how many times someone calls you by your first name, is structurally designed to prioritize its bottom line over its revenue. This is not a flaw. It's a characteristic. This is what defines a business. The end consumer is exploited through fees and inattention. Wealthy customers are exploited through complexity and unsuitable products. The mechanism is different. The dynamics are the same. The bank is not your friend. It's a counterpart, and the best thing you can do, regardless of your level of wealth, is to understand exactly what that means. So, where does that leave you? Let's be specific. If you haven't reached that point yet, and most people watching this haven't, and that's okay. That's honesty. Immediate action is not to become demoralized. The immediate action is to understand the game, because the most important variable in your financial journey is not your income. It's not even about the return on your investment. These are the decisions you make regarding costs, the fees you pay, the prices you accept, the complexity you don't understand and therefore don't question. A person who eliminates unnecessary bank fees, refinances their mortgage at a competitive rate, builds a well-allocated investment portfolio with low management fees, and understands the basic principles of tax efficiency, that person will, over 30 years, outperform someone with the same income who doesn't do these things. The advantages available at the private banking level are real, but they are not magicians. They are, for the most part, the application of principles that are available in a less refined form to anyone willing to learn them. Know the fees charged. Negotiate. Compare real estate financing options. Understand what you have in your investment portfolio and how much it costs you. Make the most of accounts with tax advantages. Don't invest in something you don't understand. This is the retail version of what private banking does for its clients, and it's available to you right now. If you're approaching the threshold, if this seems like a reality in the near future, rather than a distant aspiration, the advice changes slightly. Start building the relationship before you reach your desired number. Banks are more flexible than their rating level suggests. If you have $400,000 in assets and your growth trajectory is clearly upward, a proactive conversation with the private banking division is not premature. Some institutions extend access to the banking relationship to clients who demonstrate both current assets and a consistent growth trajectory. And when you enter this world, take a frame of reference with you. Understand what products are being offered before entering the negotiation room. Ask an independent consultant, a fiduciary who works exclusively on a fee basis, someone who receives no compensation for selling products to. Reviewed anything complex before you sign. Access is hell. The products are usually good, but check it out. Always double. And if you've already arrived there, if you've crossed that threshold and are observing to understand the system in which you are now embedded, the most important thing I can tell you is this. The relationship seems different now. The service is better. The access is real. Don't let the comfort of this relationship lead to complacency regarding its terms. Review your management fees annually. Compare them to those of other companies in the industry. Understand the incentive structure of each product you offer. Be a good customer, engaged, informed, and demanding in just the right measure, because the institution that treats you well when you're a preferred customer will continue to prioritize its revenue over your results when those two things diverge. This isn't betrayal, it's business, and you can work effectively within that reality as long as you see it clearly. Let's go back to square one. That sound? That beeping sound at the checkout. That feeling that stays in your chest for the rest of the day. I want to reframe what this feeling is, because I think it matters. That shame you feel when a card is declined, when a fee is charged at the worst possible time, when you're on hold for 22 minutes while someone upstairs takes a personal call. That feeling doesn't reflect your worth. It is a rational response to a system that communicates its priorities clearly. The system is saying, you are below the threshold where our incentives align with your interests. This is useful information. This is not a verdict on who you are. And the people above the threshold, those in the private lounges, those whose calls are answered on the second ring, aren't there because they're more deserving. They are there because they surpassed a certain number, a large number, but not an arbitrary one. A number that is the product of decisions, time, discipline, a bit of luck, and often some structural advantages that deserve to be honestly acknowledged. This system rewards the accumulation of assets because assets generate revenue for the institutions that manage them. That's the whole mechanism. Understanding the situation doesn't make it fair, but this makes the place navigable. The bank is not your enemy. He's not your friend either. It is a company with a clear set of incentives that it follows consistently. Your job, whether you have $2,000 or $2 million, is to interact with this company in a conscious and well-informed way, to know what you're paying for, to know what you're getting, to know when the product offered is useful to you and when it's useful to the institution that sells it. Use the system where it benefits you. Choose not to participate where it doesn't benefit you. Develop the knowledge and discipline that reduce the gap between where you are and where incentive structures begin to work in your favor. This is not pessimism. That's financial education. And it's the most practical thing you can do with everything you've just heard. If this video made you rethink how the banking system works, leave a comment below. Tell me what surprised you, what you already knew, and what you're going to do differently. Every comment truly influences my future projects. Leave a like if you found this video helpful. It only takes a second and helps reach people who need to hear it. Now, watch the video that's playing on your screen. It delves deeper into a topic I mentioned today. Watch it below. See you there!